Support for Radio Friends comes from OsteoStrong. Improvements in bone density, strength, and power can be achieved by weekly 5-minute no-sweat sessions on their 4-Spectrum machines. These isometric robotic machines safely emulate high-impact loading on different parts of the skeletal system, which stimulates activity in bone-building cells. Balance and agility can be improved by 2-minute sessions on vibration plates. Every session is supervised by a trained coach. Learn more on Facebook or call to set up a complimentary wellness assessment and session. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on this Thursday, September the 8th. Good to have you with us. And I refer to her as a walking encyclopedia. You know what I'm talking about? JOAN STACK. JOAN STACK from the State Historical Society. Good to have you here. And you are, Joan. You are a walking encyclopedia. It's like you open it up and ask a question, and Joan just goes.
Yeah, well, as you know, I work for the State Historical Society of Missouri's art collection, so we have artwork on all kinds of topics, so I have to research a lot of different things.
And you brought along a special guest today.
Yes, I did. I brought Daive Dunkley, who he is the chair of the Black Studies Department and also is involved with peace studies, and we're going to talk in a minute about a Peace Studies Conference that is going to have one session at the State Historical Society.
Okay, all right.
So I want to briefly talk about our latest exhibit. I've got an image here, and the image actually includes all the partners that are involved in the exhibit. The exhibit is called Mr. Pruitt's Possum Town, Trouble and Resilience in the American South. And what the exhibit is about is the kind of a deep dive into what it was like in small town America, especially rural America, Southern America, in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, that sort of era. And it's a case study of Columbus, Mississippi, but there were so many connections with Missouri and even with Columbia, small town Columbia. In fact, this image is kind of the signature image of the show, but I brought another image, I'll set that there, that is of a street in Columbus, Mississippi, and it really looks like it could be Broadway.
It does. It does. It looks like it could be Columbia, Missouri. If you're watching this on television or on the web, it looks like downtown Broadway.
Yeah, and you see these 1920s cars, and Dave pointed out to me, one of the things that's really interesting about this exhibit is you're seeing this, not just the physical landscape, but the social, the racial, the economic landscape of the town and the community. And Dave pointed out that it's segregated, this image, with the African American people are back at the back by the buildings, and the white people are kind of in the street. Mm-hmm. And that this was probably intentional by the photographer. This is Columbus, Mississippi, segregated, very segregated town. But of course, Missouri was segregated in the same period. Yeah. And we do have an exhibit, an affiliated exhibit, to tie it into Missouri. I brought a copy of our Missouri Times with the signature image from that show. The exhibit is called Missouri Sharecroppers, and it focuses on the sharecropper strike of 1939, where sharecroppers who had been displaced camped along the roadside and protested the way they were being treated. And this is an image from that protest. It's an interesting example of resistance, as Dave mentioned, and we'll probably feature this also during Black History Month. But I do want to get to Dave's symposium. Our exhibit is going to be featured as part of the symposium, and we will have a session at the State Historical Society.
Okay, so Dave, what about the symposium?
So it's really the Peace Studies Conference, and it's the first time the university is having a Peace Studies Conference, even though the Peace Studies program has been at the university for 50 years.
But this is the first conference.
First Peace Studies Conference.
So what is going to happen?
So what we're looking at is we first of all, we broadly conceive what we mean by peace. So peace, not just the absence of conflict, but also the active pursuit of all the things that enable peace to happen. So social and economic equality, religious tolerance, political enfranchisement, and poverty, trying to tackle poverty, because poverty can also lead to a lot of conflict and so on. on. So we're going to address all these issues in a global context. We'll have panels on the United States, with people from around the country as well as people from around the world. So we're bringing the world to Missouri with this conference, and it's on September 21 to 22 in Ellis Library. You can go to the Peace Studies website, and the program is right there.
Are you asking for people to attend? Is the public invited?
It's free and open to the public. So you can attend, you can register online, you can even attend. There are some virtual options as well, so you can attend some of the sessions virtually if you want. But we would very much like people to actually be there in person, to engage with some of these international...
So there will be questions and answers?
Yes, there will be.
So this is September the 21st?
To the 22nd.
And the 22nd?
Yes.
What times?
So on the 21st, we start at 10 in the morning, and we go up until 3. And then in the following day, the 22nd, we start again at 10 in the morning and go up until 3.
Till about 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Do people need to register in advance, or can they just show up?
They can just show up, but we strongly encourage you to register, because we'd like to keep a check of our numbers. See
how many people are coming?
Yeah, because that's important for us to kind of gauge the impact of the conference.
What do you feel, or what are you hoping to accomplish with this conference?
Well, what am I not hoping to accomplish with the conference? I am hoping to accomplish several things. I think at the top of my agenda would be to establish the relevance of a peace studies program and a peace studies degree to the world we live in. Because there are quite a number of young people who actually think that there is very little you can do with peace studies or even black studies, of which I'm also the chair. But I'm here to tell them that the world is open to you. Your prospects are really global when it comes to these kinds of programs and degrees. So that's one of my biggest things, to show the relevance of these fields of study to our lives.
I like what you're attempting to do, because you are putting a very positive spin on this. You want to project optimism.
I do.
Do you feel optimistic inside?
I do. Paul, I just finished a book last year with some very, very, very sad stories in them. And I came out of that book still feeling very optimistic, because I know that despite all the trouble, despite all the trauma, despite all of the resistance, the ultimate aim was resolution. And if I'm going to sit down and be disheartened by all of these stories, then I'm actually betraying the cause of the people who live these lives. Their objective was better, to achieve better, for us to become better. So I have to remain positive. I really do.
You're an inspiration. You are an inspiration. I say
Tell that to my kids.
No, I say that sincerely. Yeah. I say that sincerely. I respect you, and I admire you for what you're trying to do. And I feel privileged that you came here today with Joan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. All right? We're out of time for today. Next time. Bye-bye.